We've been doing our show Indie Inquiries for the last few weeks here with Sharky, and for today's critical thought, I want to kind of go behind the curtain here. We're going to discuss what are some of the essential elements for a Steam store page, and how do I grade them for our weekly show. Alright, we're not going to be doing any kind of video example up there for this one because we're going full screen in a few minutes. Before we get to that, let's go over very briefly why this is important as a developer. When it comes to Steam and being on the storefront, Valve doesn't care about you. They care about the money your game brings in, but very much they give you the store page and you have carte blanche to do whatever you want with it. And whether that means doing something very exciting or something not so much is entirely up to you. But when it comes to marketing your game, you want your store page to be as appealing as possible, because consumers are going to buy your game on what they see, not so much on what they're able to play. And again, the days in which you could kind of just go by word of mouth and just getting people to play your game on that are kind of over. And it's very important from a development standpoint, or from a marketing one, that you're able to look at your game and put the best possible foot forward. Because if you can't do that, if you're not able to tell people why they should be playing your game, then most likely your game is not going to be able to do that either. And what we're going to be looking at this next part are three very popular games. And I'm just going to go over what's on their respective store pages, what's good, what's bad. And again, this is kind of like a preview for our weekly show Indie Inquiries. And if you would like us to look at your game on that show, please get in touch. With that, we're going to do our quick break now because we're going to switch over to these games next. And now for a quick thank you to our current Game Wisdom supporters and sponsors. And if you'd like to continue this discussion on game design, be sure to check out our Discord channel, linked down below. Now available at most retailers are my current books on design. 20 Essential Games to Study is an intro-level look at 20 unique games to provide inspiration for any developer looking to get into the game industry. And the Game Design Deep Dive series each go into a top-to-bottom look at the design of a specific genre, with platformers and roguelikes now available, and horror coming in the near future. Alright everybody, I am down here now, as we're going to be taking a look at three very popular indie games, and we're going to kind of go from top to bottom about what they did for their store page, and what are some of the major elements that worked or didn't work, depending upon the game. So, let's start, well, at the top here. First thing, I know this is going to sound very simple, but your thumbnail for your title should match the actual title for your game. I know this seems very odd, but yes, there are developers who will mess this up, and the name of their game may not be what's on the thumbnail. Again, you're trying to promote a kind of professionalism with your game, and everything that distracts from that is going to hurt your title. Now, we look over here, we have a video. And yes, you do need a trailer. You need at minimum one trailer for your game. Your first one is the one that's going to sell your title, and it should very much be the highlight reel of playing your game. Now, Stardew Valley's trailer here, admittedly, is not the best. And part of the reason is that it's a 3-minute long trailer, and that's a little bit long for games like this. Ideally, you want 45 seconds to a minute. You want to show everyone, get right to the point, what's good about your game, what's going to get them excited, and you want that to just immediately, knock their socks off. You can have multiple trailers, there's nothing about that, but your first one needs to be your strongest. Now, of course, you're going to need additional thumbnails, and you have to make sure they're properly formatted, so there's no black bars, as you can kind of see a little bit on this one. And also, the trailer footage and your screenshots should be different. You want to be showing somebody different stuff in these screenshots than what they saw in the trailer. Now, as we scroll down, again, you've had, basic stuff. This is stuff that you can't really mess up on. You have your features, reviews, and the other big point is the About This Game section. Now, here, this is where you're going to really have to sell your game, because you need to describe what your game is, and you have to make it as appealing as possible. So, first off, no spelling errors, no grammar mistakes. If your game is being ported into different languages, you need to make sure that each translation works. You don't want your game to read, "This is the amazingly platforming of a first-person Shreddum." That was actually quite hard to come up with on the fly there. But for Stardew Valley's description, this is kind of the worst of the ones I'm going to show you today. Now, the positive, you have bullet points. Ideally, we want the main ones to be a different color. We want that to stand out. It's formatted properly in terms of paragraphs. But the problem is that this is all text. What you're going to see in the next few ones are going to be screenshots and GIFs that are used to break this up. And again, it just helps sell your game in terms of the presentation of this page. The kind of banner at the top here, that's good, but it's not perfect. So overall, this would probably be, I would say maybe B to maybe B minus to solid B, in my opinion, of a store page. The aesthetics of the game certainly pop. The trailers will sell this game, but the store page itself is not doing anything to bring somebody in who isn't already excited about the game. And that's a very big point. The goal of your store page is that somebody who finds your game, either by, discovery, the algorithm, or just because somebody told them about it, this store page should be able to sell somebody and get them excited about your game. If it doesn't, then it's kind of failed its job. Now, there are going to be cases where a bad store page doesn't really matter. Again, we can see here that Stardew Valley has over 250,000 reviews lifetime. It did really well. But again, as an indie developer, you want to make things as great as possible for your chances to succeed. So with that, let's switch over to another unknown indie game, and we have The Darkest Dungeon. Now, Darkest Dungeon page, again, will go from top to bottom. Title, or the screenshot here, matches our title. We have a pretty good trailer here. So this is about a minute long, or minute 12, which kind of fits. We have text showing off accolades, and it's still showing footage on top of that. We have the game in action, and again, this trailer is showing off some highlights here. We got the high stakes action, we have the Hamlet system, we got awards. Now, for a game like this that has a high enough pedigree, you can show off the name of the studio, the name of the game right at the start. But if you are kind of new in the space, you want to save that for last. But as this trailer is going, you can see we have both in-game and kind of cinematic cutscenes. And again, this is selling the excitement of this game. And like I said, we have multiple trailers. So this is, I think this was the one they used for the Kickstarter. It's a little bit longer. And they're trying to play the music, which I don't want them to do for this piece here. But, again, this is the one that's a little bit longer. It's more story-based. So it's okay that this one is on the longer side, because whatever is your first one is the money-making one. We come over here. We have another shortened trailer. Again, showing off the gameplay, giving us a highlight reel. That's all great. And again, lots and lots of screenshots here showing off the various aspects of the title. They're all properly formatted. It's all good here. And it's so about your bundles and DLC. That's not what we're really focusing on here. That's more kind of the advanced marketing that happens after the game is released. But we scroll down, we get to the About This Game. Right off the bat, this is a really great part. So we have a very action GIF here showing off a crit, showing the game off in style. You can see how each section has its own colored font, or the font changes for each section. text is being broken up by this, as well as by additional GIFs. And whether you have GIFs or images, you want each one to kind of sell the section it's in. Now, because of this, we only have essentially, we only have 2 sections: the Reclaim Your Ancestors Estate and Core Features. So one for each is good, but if we were having multiple sections of bullet points, you want a GIF for each one. And in terms of text, ideally 2 to 3 lines at most. You don't want each one of these bullet points to be like a 4 or 5 line paragraph, because you don't want the consumer's eyes to glaze over and are like, oh my god, why am I still looking at this kind of thing. But again, we have the awards and accolades, which for most of you sadly will not have to worry about that section. But again, each bullet point explains why you should be excited about this game. What does it do that is either different or at such a high degree of polish? And we scroll up, again, we can see everything is presented pretty well. We have popular user-defined tags, and you want your own tags as well, which I am not seeing. Oh wait, here they are. Indie RPG strategy. So we could probably put like action roguelike or roguelite here as well. Now another point that I want to drive home. You also want on this side over here any contact information. This would be a ding on this page. I want to see a Twitter. I want to see some way for somebody to reach out to the developer. Now, it does have a website, so that is good. But you want to have some kind of landing page outside of Steam so that people can find you, get in touch with you, etc., etc. But overall, I would say this would be more, I would say maybe B+, A- material in terms of a store page. Now, I'm sure if Shark is watching this, he'll put his own grades in the comments below. But for our last one, and again, this is kind of going at things a little bit quicker because we'll be doing our more extensive shows on Thursdays, we have Slay the Spire, another favorite of mine. So again, we have the title thumbnail matching our title, and we have ourselves a trailer, which hopefully will not play any music, although I have muted on OBS just to be on the safe side. So again, we have a minute and a half. That's a little bit long, not as bad as Stardew Valley. Now, this is very interesting. This is obviously a turn-based roguelike, or turn-based RPG design. That's a little bit of a harder sell compared to action-driven games. But just like with Darkest Dungeon, they're going for highlight reels. They're not showing somebody spending 20 minutes trying to make a choice. They're showing you play a card, they're showing the effects on screen, numbers flying up, effects, and all that other stuff. And anything that is kind of turn-based or more on the esoteric side can be harder to present. And again, we have some really good shots of people being excited about the game. Although, if we go back here for a second, let me pause. This is not a good part. You want to avoid dark screens whenever possible, or dark images on your trailer here. You could have overlaid, or you could put this overlaid on gameplay footage, and would still kind of keep the person entertained. And they even did that, like right here. And again, as it's going. Now, one thing that's interesting, that the footage here is slightly zoomed in, because it's not showing the UI at the top or bottom of the screen, and you typically want to show UI. You need people to understand, what is this game I'm playing? Now, they do at least show some of the cards on the bottom, which is good. And again, we can see some of this stuff here in these screenshots. And again, the screenshots are different from the trailer. We have UI of the cards, which is good. We can see a lot of the card art. And again, we have actions being shown. Now we scroll down. Again, we have our indie strategy. And this time developers did a better job than Red Hook. We have their website. We have a Facebook link. We have them on Twitter. And also, as a bonus tip, make sure this stuff is updated. I've seen some developers who change their Twitter, maybe update their website HTTP or their link, and they don't update it on their store page. So there's just one of those other little minor inconveniences you have to do. Now about this game, again, we have different GIFs. That's really great. The GIFs are breaking up the text. Features, yes. And again, this is a pretty solid about this game page here, or this section. You have kind of each section kind of chunked with a little bit of text, and then a GIF. Text and a GIF. And that does a great job, again, of showing the player what this game looks like, how it's being played, and why they should care about it. And again, everything on here is getting somebody excited about why they should play this game. And again, you can have recent events and announcements. That stuff is what gets added on after the game is out. So we're not really focusing on that. But overall, there really isn't a lot that I would, horribly ding the store page on. I think I would give this another solid, maybe A- to A in terms of a store page. Information is laid out cleanly. There are multiple GIFs showing off the game. Sections are categorized. We have a trailer. We have screenshots. There really isn't too much here that I would really change. And again, some of you who are watching this, you are going to be constrained by what your game is. If your game doesn't have a strong aesthetic, it's going to be kind of hard to market it with one. And this is again why I chose 3 very popular games for the example of this video, rather than trying to hunt down, some of the lesser examples, because I didn't want this to be seen like I'm, making fun or attacking the games in this piece. And again, we do more of our stronger or more critical criticism for the Thursday shows. But to wrap up our video, and again, to kind of give like a quick summation, starting from top to bottom, you want your title thumbnail to match your title. You need a trailer, ideally 45 seconds to a minute. You need screenshots properly formatted. You want to have tags that show off your game. I would actually include maybe like a deck builder or CCG in the genre as well, besides Indian strategy. Maybe even RPG. You want the About This Game section to pop, so you want GIFs. Anything that can show your game in motion in a positive light, you want to put it here, and you want to use that to break up your text. For each section or unique section of this page, you want to use different colors, maybe even a different font to break that up. And ideally, every unique thing or every unique section, you want a GIF there. And like I said a few minutes ago, each section or each time you have text here, it should not be clumped up more than 2 to 3 lines without breaking things up. And here's the very scary part. Everything that I just spent the last 15 minutes, wow, it's already been 15 minutes of me talking about this, on with these 3 games, this is marketing 100. This is the barest of the bare minimum. You can go above and beyond, have multiple GIFs, have unique art, show off your roadmap, do all kinds of crazy things with your trailer. But everything that I just talked about, this is bare minimum. If you don't have everything that I just said, then you are hamstringing your game. It's going to be, death by, get an arrow to the knee. So with that said, we're going to wrap up our critical thought today. If you would like us to take a look at your game for a future episode of Indie Inquiries, please let me know. Tune into the live show on Thursday, starting around 3:30 ET, and those recordings go up in archive form on Saturdays. Thanks again for watching. Come back for daily discussions on game design here, and on game wisdom, where some of the art and science of games. Until next time, take care.